inside my DNA. I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. 死んだ天性
Itadori rises, startling Shoko and Gojo Satoru, who look on surprised. Whoa, I'm completely naked. Yes, you are. Welcome back to the world of the living. So we're just gonna act like I didn't just come back to life, asked Yuji. This story, as I said, starts with Itadori's second chance at life, but what if we say that randomly his death with Sukuna within his body is actually a catalyst for not only a new life, but an opportunity to truly fight for his cursed life that he has. While Kugisaki and Fushiguro went on readying for the exchange, believing him still dead, Gojo still wanted to train him. However, he would have to do it in a different environment because something about him had changed. Sneaking into the tomb of Tengen, he would pick a random door within the labyrinth and end up in a wild rocky area. With Itadori now in tow behind him, as he closed the door behind, he saw the door just standing in the air and says, "Whoa, how's that work?" "Oh, well, this is all because of Master Tengen. They're a famous barrier master." "Why are you smiling so much?" "I'm just so excited, I get to be trained by you personally." "Well, it is me we're talking about. Alright, let's get into it. Let's talk cursed energy." He explains to him the difference between cursed energy and cursed energy application and how that applies to cursed techniques as well. "Ooh, so I got some super awesome technique I'm about to learn. Is it gonna be like Fushiguro's?" "No, actually, you're a weird case. Technically, you were incapable of having a technique, like ever. You see, Jujutsu is 80% innate talent, 20% hard work. So why? It's Sukuna, isn't it?" Honestly, Gojo says, "I don't know. Your death definitely has something to do with it though. But the problem is, I don't know what you have. It could draw a lot of attention, so here we are. The basement was not gonna hold you." "Well, how do we figure it out?" "Well, that's on you." "Shit. Well, maybe I can shoot fire or something." Gojo suddenly would notice something and he takes off his blindfold. "Itadori?" "Yeah." "Oh, you're showing the baby blues." "Itadori, try shooting fire." "You really think that's it?" Getting in a stance to fire a Kamehameha because he's an idiot, he swings forward and indeed fires from his palms a massive revolving blast of flames, which scorch the floor, melting into magma. "Oh, awesome, dude, I can really shoot fire." Oh, this is gonna be fun." "Yeah, it is." He starts shooting flames about, just having fun, and Satoru observes, but he feels something is off. Until he finally gets it. "Okay, I think I figured it out. I mean, yeah, I can shoot fire, right?" "No, it's more than that. Your whole body composition changed when you came back to life, and I noticed when you said I can shoot fire, your technique might have interfered somehow. It's like you have a binding vow on steroids. Say something else." Yuji begins to understand. Maybe he literally willed himself to get that power somehow, but that would be way too OP, right? There's no way, right? But there's only one way to find out. Nervously, Itadori would say, and he always wanted to say this, "I can fly." And upon saying this, he begins to levitate before blasting off into the sky, snapping the air. It is honestly very awesome. And he asked Gojo how he gets used to this feeling because Gojo can fly and he's, seen a few things. So it's not out of range to say that because Gojo can control space. The sensei smiles, unable to contain himself. He literally is telling his cursed energy to change property. He's switching techniques to anything he wants at will. He's basically warping the rules of Jujutsu and reality in itself, and Gojo just cannot believe how insane that is. As he lands, Yuji says that he can't wait to start learning more, and Gojo grabs him by the shoulder saying he is just as excited, like, "Bro, you can literally warp reality. This is gonna be awesome for them." Now, while, they're saying this, and Yuji's like overly excited, he himself doesn't realize how insane such an ability is, which I'll go in more detail about it later, but they test out a few things. Because it's not something he's used to. This is the first time he has powers. Yuji obviously would have a lot of fun figuring it out, but they figure out the obvious. Yuji has 3 slots. He can change the property of things up to 3 times, and when he makes changes past that, the others disappear in the order that he started them. So if he put in a 4th rule, then rule 1 would switch out, going away, and 2 becomes 1, 3 becomes 2, and his 4th rule becomes 3. It just keeps rotating out. And for anyone who wants to say that New Order has 3 slots and that's wrong because in the MHA manga it has 2, it doesn't. It actually has 3. It's just that the first one always applies to Stars and Stripes to give her a superhuman body because she wants to support herself. She has always had 3 slots. Go read the manga if you want to quote me. Yuji then goes back to, the movie training after all that, trying to control his emotions while watching a movie, not to tear up, control your emotions, cursed energy gets better, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Gojo closes the door on him as he walks off with a black box in hand and says, yeah, it's better this way. Shame you couldn't destroy them though. What he holds in his hands are the fingers of Sukuna. Itadori applied a rule to himself, forcing him to barf them up. Honestly, he kind of feels ashamed of it. He gave up, but now that Sukuna is not pestering him anymore, he can put his efforts into getting stronger and stronger and unstoppable and beat the curse himself, because he's never ever losing like he did before ever again. As his cursed energy flares, the cursed doll nearly hits him but quickly drops its arms. This is the slots that Yuji has. I will name them out for you. The first slot is that he said, I can understand cursed energy perfectly. Slot 2 is, my brain works 10 times faster than normal. And 3 says, I understand how my curse technique works. By doing this and erupting his cursed energy around him and forcing it to bend to his will while watching this incredibly emotional film, Itadori would slowly start to understand a new world, and he really just does not understand how Gojo does it so casually. Like, he can't even describe how amazing this feels. As he stayed on the couch, his body essentially reprogramming itself because he now fully understood his technique. He's thinking of new ways to fight, and his heightened brain capacity makes that so much easier. But hours later, the doors are swung wide open. Yup. Oh, hey, sensei. Gojo notices immediately what happened and says, oh, yes. Oh, so you noticed. I know, right? This is perfect then. Come with me real quick. Yuji gets up and follows him, asking what's going on. And to answer that, we go to another perspective, that of Jogo, as he faces the night sky, suffering a terrible defeat. Got his ass beat by Gojo. He was a little arrogant. He gets up, heals himself, and he sees the man before him, and with him, a boy. Yuji is standing atop the water. That's the first thing that Jogo notices about him. And Gojo is doing the same thing, but clearly he wasn't helping Yuji do it. That guy, he's strong, says Yuji. Is that why I'm here? I'm here to fight him? No, you're here to learn a lesson. He looks like Mount Fuji. I can say that, right? Like he looks like Mount Fuji. He's a fire curse, huh? Oh, shut up. Why did you bring this boy here? To be your meat shield? What? No, I mean, he's here to learn. Maybe squabble with you. Besides, why would I need a shield? You're too weak. Jogo figuratively and literally blows his top as he rages, even shooting magma from his ears, and he loses it. Itadori gets on guard as he explodes with cursed energy. And this is when Gojo unveils his domain. They now find themselves in a volcano with Yuji freaking out and just, feeling a burn just then. He feels heat encroaching as he starts to shield himself with cursed energy before Gojo can even do anything. And he was fine. And Gojo thinks, what did he do? He should be bursting into flames right now. That's what would happen to anyone else. Gojo has infinity, but Itadori on the spot had just learned how to apply a simple domain on instinct alone. He doesn't even know what it is. He saw the perimeter he created on himself, and then he increased it just then. Well, why are we in a volcano? This is a domain expansion. A flaming meteor is suddenly thrown at them, and Gojo lightly taps it, turning it to nothing but rubble, enraging Jogo. Oh, I get it. You do? Asked Gojo. Brain's working at hyperspeed right now. Caught up the moment you said it. What a crazy body you got now. Right? But that means that this is a reflection of his inner self. Dude, you got a lot of anger issues. I will kill you. That only works if you can get past Sensei, and I've got a feeling that this domain is better than yours. And you'd be right. He then explains what domains do in detail, allowing Yuji to connect the dots and understand before Gojo pulls down his blindfold and overwhelms Jogo. Moments later, he would stomp on his head at the shore of the lake, asking for answers, and seeing this only made Yuji more excited to learn from Satoru. Anyone else could tell just from a glimpse that he stood at the pinnacle. Honored one type shit. But he does think to himself that he has to get stronger than him. Just then, some random spike of wood nearly strikes Gojo's leg. He pulls back, and as it jams to the floor, a field of flowers flourishes around them, putting them at ease, kind of like a genjutsu. While they're distracted, an unidentified, a curse they don't know, Jesus Christ, I really be hurting myself, comes and scoops up Jogo, and that's when Gojo snaps out of it and chases after Hanami. Yuji does the same when his back leg is then caught, and he shouts, "Switch out." He rips out his foot, and with his next step in a flash, he appears before the curse, cocking back his fist. "I got them, sensei. Switch back." His fist would light ablaze as he throws a flaming hook, but misses as the curse disappears somehow. What? He lets the flames go out, asking Gojo what happened, and Gojo stops before him, saying that, well, those curses were working together. They were in cahoots. That is new. It is? Well, not if they're evolved enough. This is getting interesting. Yeah, and dangerous. Yeah, I mean, alright. Come on, off you pop, back to training. I got more tricks to teach you. Satoru was supposed to go meet with Yaga somewhere, by the way. He missed that meeting, obviously, which got Ichiji in a lot of trouble. As for Itadori, 2 days later, he is introduced to Nanami Kento. Meet Nanami Kento, the most straight-laced sorcerer ever. Don't introduce me like that. See? Wow, it's hard to believe you're his senior, sensei. Why, because of my youthful glow? No, because you act like a child. Harsh. Nanami, as usual, wants to make things, professional. So he would greet Itadori the same way he would greet any co-worker. And Yuji responds in kind, though kind of taken off guard. But now it's time to get to work. So they head off in the pouring rain, and upon entering the scene of the crime, the police gives, them full jurisdiction. They're not comfortable with it, but they have no choice because the higher-ups are pulling strings and letting them do whatever they want. And when he sees the victims, Itadori just can't believe how disfigured they are, asking his sensei if he has seen this before. Itadori, yeah, I'm not your teacher. Technically you are, because I'm learning from you, so... What else do you see? Oh, the residuals. They're leading upstairs. Then that's where we're heading next. And so they head to the roof where they see a curse far ahead of them. But Itadori says that something is off. Nanami asks what, and Itadori starts to think about it, and he says to give him a second. As the rain comes to a slow, he looks around and thinks back on things like pictures of the victims and just tries to think about something he's missing. It's in front of him, but he's missing it, and that's when he finally sees it. Oh God, no. What is it? It's not a curse. That's a human. Suddenly, another victim, now transfigured, erupts from behind the two, and it swings as they step back, avoiding, and the other one starts running their way. Nanami asks how he knows, and Itadori remarks that the so-called curse on all fours has the same bracelet one of the victims has. He's right. And that makes this so much worse because they at least know they're human now, so they have trouble dealing with them. Itadori continues to avoid the attackers, saying that he can fix them. He ducks a punch and taps the victim, saying he'll return to normal. But nothing happens. Whoa! He dodges another attack, and Nanami tries to stay on defense as well, asking what's wrong, and Itadori says that his powers aren't working. He doesn't know why, and he's kind of freaking out. He taps him again, saying it in a different way, but once again, nothing happened. Itadori's face shows despair as the victim then swings again, this time shedding a tear from its eyes, as if forced to act against its own will, because it really is. Itadori just can't cope. Like, this is really messed up. At that point, he's grabbed and pulled back by the collar, and Nanami would swing his blade into the victim's torso, and everything goes black. Hours later, we go to Shoko's office, where we see the remains of these people laid out before her, dissected, and she indeed confirms that they are humans. Over the phone, she tells Ichichi, Yuji, and Nanami, and the two notice Itadori's fist tighten and shiver with anger. But Shoko lets him know that none of this is his fault, because they were already dead and twisted beyond human. They couldn't be saved. And he thanks her for saying this, but whoever did this was gonna get what was coming to them. Nanami noticed that Yuji clearly felt really that deeply about these people. He was empathizing with them in a way that most sorcerers don't really do. It's very genuine. And Itadori was like a nuke practically waiting to go off right now. Nanami and Ichichi were told that he was no longer a vessel of Sukuna, but somehow he was more terrifying now. The power of a boy who witnessed something that they could have changed but failed to. That is dangerous. And the thing is, Yuji knew. He thinks to himself that he knew that's not how his technique works. If he doesn't know people's names, it doesn't matter. It will not work. He will not be able to apply a rule, but he kept pushing it and pushing it. He didn't even bother to read the report about the victims. That was his own fault. But next time, he will be better. Now motivated to destroy whoever is doing this, they move out. But Itadori is sent on a side mission to find and question Junpei Yoshino. Ichichi would drop him off as he would then see Junpei talking to his teacher. And Ichichi asks, "How will you know?" Yuji says to just watch this, and he says, "Switch." By using a binding vow, Itadori now omits saying a command out loud and just thinks of it while saying switch, and his new rule was that within his radius, all sorcerers will be exposed to him. Suddenly, Itadori would begin to see the contained energy Junpei now had and smiles. Yeah, he's a sorcerer. Yeah, a sorcerer who's about to curse someone. Oh shit. Because Satomura was pissing off Junpei by suggesting that he attend his own bully's funeral, Junpei nearly unleashed his technique, but Yuji would run up and wrap his arm around him, saying, "Oh, buddy, what you doing here?" "Hey, you were interrupting, young man. Who are you?" Yuji tries to play out that, he knows Junpei and, that he's just trying to say hi, but he also tells him to calm down his cursed energy. And Junpei whispers, "How do you too?" "Yep, now calm down." The teacher starts to get annoyed, but Yuji just runs off with Junpei because he's not really going to try and pants him this time. He just wants to leave. And when they're far enough, he gets to know the kid, and it's obvious that he didn't kill the bullies, even though he honestly could have and is pretty justified in doing so. Those people really sucked. And moments later, after he learns the truth, he talks to Junpei a little bit. They stop by an underpass and take a seat. And Junpei says, "So you're a Jujutsu sorcerer?" "Yep, the pay's pretty good." "Is it actually?" "No, but Gojo sensei takes care of everything." Just then his phone would ring and he would go talk to Nanami, and he heard that Nanami got hurt. Nanami says it doesn't matter, however. What we're dealing with right now is much more important, which is that this person who's going around killing people isn't a sorcerer but a curse, a newborn one, but malevolent regardless. Then he asks Yuji if he can use reverse curse technique. "If I want, yeah." Nanami says to come back after he makes sure that Junpei is safe, and he says, "Got it." And as he hangs up, he would tell Junpei to stay clear of curses. "I can feel it on you. You came in contact with one, didn't you?" Junpei clearly thinks of Mahito, but tries to lie. Yuji sees through him though, saying, "Look, curses are just that. Curses. They will kill you with no remorse. Be careful. I need to go check on my senior." So as he runs off, and when he arrives back at the base, he exchanges a roll out to give himself, let's say that he just gives Nanami the ability to self-heal, which happens instantaneously. And Ichichi says that it's still incredible no matter how many times he sees it. "It'll last until I run out of my slots again, so until then, you're basically immortal." Now this is the slots right now. For slot 1, Nanami Kento will keep healing no matter what, and for slot 2 and 3, they're basically empty right now. So if he fills up slot 2 and 3 and then adds another rule, then slot 1 gets cancelled out and it bunges up like I said. Now Nanami would pull down the shirt, saying that it's good to know, and ask for a report about Junpei. From here, everything remains the same, except that while Nanami gets Ino and goes to the sewers again, Yuji is allowed to go see what's going on at Junpei's school, which had now been covered with the veil. He runs into the gym abruptly, seeing Junpei with the poisoned student body on the floor surrounding him. and he asked, Junpei, what are you doing? Junpei seemed dejected. Something definitely happened. Something Yuji warned him about. He tells him to let the bully down. As he can see, Shikigami actively poisoning him, but Junpei is hell-bent and even swings his jellyfish poisonous sting at him, and Itadori has to bash it aside with his bare hand and move in so fast that he seemed to just appear before him. Before he noticed, Junpei was thrown out into the halls, and after doing this, Yuji would fill his second slot and touch the gym floor. Everyone who was making contact with it would be healed. That was the rule. The poison filling them would be fried out, and he then blanks out the slot, giving him 2 empty spaces left like before. Then he steps out into the hall. He sees Junpei limping back, asking him why he's trying to stop him, because clearly those people deserve it. He throws more poison stingers, filling the hall with a bunch of them, and as they approach Itadori, he just punches the air, ripping them apart with the air snapping and sending Junpei flying. Yuji then responds to his question, telling him that he knows this is wrong. Just what the hell happened, huh? With his second slot, he had just filled it in, saying that his punches cannot create shockwaves. Junpei keeps trying to fight him, but to no avail. This would cause their skirmish to destroy the school a bit, until Yuji managed to settle him down and ask him seriously, what the hell happened? Junpei breaks down in his arms and tells him everything, and Yuji is just horrified, saying that he's sorry. He didn't even try to ask him, he was just trying to beat him up. But he says, come with me, come to Jutsu Tech. He invites him to be a sorcerer, not to fall into this pit of despair, but to fight with comrades by his side. And while trying to convince him, he notices someone making their way down the steps. Who are you? Junpei would look back, calling out his name, this being Mahito. He was clearly familiar with this guy. Mahito would raise his arm as it begins to bulge and mutate, and realizing what's about to happen, Itadori says, switch. Mahito gigantifies his arm and swings it at him, and he finds the appendage thoroughly torn to bits by a shockwave, knocking him into a wall as he draws first blood. Itadori would stand and touch Junpei. Junpei Yoshino doesn't belong in this veil. As he says this, Junpei begs him not to, and he disappears. Yuji would then face his new opponent. Mahito heals as he begins to cackle and laugh. Holy shit, you pack a punch, huh? Yeah, but that's not gonna work. However, the wound he had healed would open again as his arm doesn't even feel fully healed now. Mahito is confused, and he's met by another shockwave crashing him through the wall, and Itadori chases through the hole and catches up to his flying body, smashing him into a desk, saying that he was gonna make him pay. Now, his slots were fully filled, meaning that Nanami was not immortal anymore, and it was time to get down. So slot 1 allows Yuji to think 10 times faster. Slot 2 still allows him to cause shockwaves, but slot 3, his punches will stack. Now for the third slot, his technique limits the stacking of his power to 3 because he didn't specify it. So once it reaches 3, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger, by his third hit, it resets after that. Yuji would punch him in the face and then erupt with cursed energy, smashing him down with both hands and all his strength. From outside in the courtyard, an entire part of the school building is destroyed. Now, the thing about New Order is that Stars and Stripes couldn't make the human body go beyond its limits. But when Yuji makes a rule, it only works when he uses his cursed energy sometimes. So when he punched him with his bare body, it did nothing, but it did stack power. And then when he was about to hit Mahito, he infused himself with cursed energy, thus activating the effect, and used the stacked power with a shockwave. This will be important later on, but like Gojo said, Yuji is changing the properties of his body, yes, but also the properties of his cursed energy. So Yuji himself is now aware of all this because he understands his own technique, so he's really taking advantage of it. From the smoke, Mahito jumps out, pulling back his arms and swinging them forward while changing them to just, massive sickles. They slice into Yuji and he jumps out, but his fist would knock them back before he punches forward, and the curse's head is snapped back, and if it wasn't for the fact that he was a curse, Mahito would have been dead from that attack. He's sent crashing through a window, and while his arms are tracked back, he sees Yuji grab one. However, they erupt with knives, stabbing his hand. Luckily, he was able to gather cursed energy in time and was only knocked back, so no cuts. Mahito leaps out right before him and from another mirror in front of him because he jumped down. He jumped down a level, and he would then barf up some transfigured humans. Yuji quickly jumps back, avoiding them as they form and chase after him. And obviously Mahito's taking pleasure in this. He realizes that this is Yuji's weakness. He can't hurt these things he's made. Itadori struggles to do anything against the victims and only keeps dodging, their attempts no matter what. When from above, Nanami lands, killing one of them. Itadori, are you alright? Yeah. He apologizes for hesitating, but Nanami says that it's okay. Then he joins the fight with him and notices that Mahito is hurt, which Yuji filled him in on. He doesn't know how he can hurt him. He himself wasn't aware that it wasn't normal to be able to hurt him. However, Mahito uses the transfigured humans like in the original to keep him at bay while he fought Nanami. Until Yuji overcomes this and comes back into the fight, and holy shit. Now he was screwed. Itadori swung and threw him in Nanami's direction for the senior to smash his blunt sword into his chest, nearly cleaving him apart. He then kicks him back towards Yuji, who would kick him into the air and yell, "Switch." He teleports above him and swings down with a blood-curdling scream, creating the curse and blinding Nanami with dust. Now that he's focused again, Nanami realizes that he does not need his help, and if anything, he would be getting in the way. Mahito would lay in a crater, struggling to heal as he wonders, who the hell is this guy? Everything about him so far has been crazy. It's like he has every technique you can even think of, and he realizes that he's gonna die. Yuji approaches him, clearing the dust, saying, "Switch" once again. His previous switch allowed him to teleport anywhere within the barrier, and now he switched it out to recharge his cursed energy reserves. And then he blanks this out, leaving him with 2 more slots full, and him back at full power again. Now, there are certain effects that remain permanent even if they're blanked out, because if they didn't stay permanent, it would break the concept of causality. He recharged his cursed energy, so it wouldn't make sense if getting rid of that role just got rid of it. That's why he said recharge. He didn't say my cursed energy is full or something. He specified the command. Now, Yuji prepares to land the finishing blow, and suddenly, Nanami sees a barrier in case he end the curse. Yuji finds himself quite literally in the palm of Mahito's hand. Oh, come on. Yeah, sorry. I really gotta thank you, No matter what you do, you're dead. You know that, right? Highly doubt that. Any last words? While asking this, he smarts, thinking that, there's no way he can do anything. This is, after all, his domain, and it's a one-hitter killer. But Yuji holds his hand forward, saying switch. In the next moment, the barrier is torn apart, leaving the curse completely shocked. Nanami, who had been trying to break in this entire time, was relieved to see him happy, and safe. Not happy. Why did I say happy? Obviously, he's not fucking happy. But he's safe, so he tells him to finish it. Yuji would chase him down as Mahito begins to puff up, turning giant, and Itadori then strikes with the shockwave, blowing him up, but, well, he escaped by disassembling himself and going to the sewers, and they couldn't fully get him. Angered at himself, Itadori screams at the top of his lungs, but Nanami comforts him. Don't focus on the negative. I realize that sounds a bit ironic considering our job. Yuji understands though, and he did good. He could have done better. He's still being hard on himself considering what happened to Junpei, but next time he's gonna pulverize him. That was a promise. Now with Mahito scared off, Itadori will go get Junpei later, and everyone who was involved in this were silenced. However, now Junpei had a choice. Either he would be executed as a cursed user who assaulted a school, or Junjutsu Tech. Obviously, he took the latter option. Gojo introduces him the day of the exchange to his seniors who had gathered. That's Maki, that's Panda, that's Inumaki, and then your fellow first years Kugisaki and Fushiguro. Nice to meet you guys. Oh, idiot, he's not fighting, is he? Asked Maki. Gojo says no, obviously. Maki asks, he's not fighting, is he? Gojo says no, obviously. He'll be taking some remedial classes of sorts so he could actually be brought up to speed since he is fresh new. Yaga, Kakukanji, and Utahime arrive just then along with the Kyoto school making their entrance, and quickly the tension between the schools is clear. Even Junpei could tell that things were about to go down for real. Hey, before we do that, says Gojo, I got a surprise for you guys. Well, just 2 of you actually. You can come down. Suddenly, a presence is felt. It wasn't felt previously. It just came out of nowhere and caught everyone's attention. They look up and see Yuji. Gakuganji's jaw drops to the floor, and his classmates are the same. Hey guys. Junpei greets him casually because he's been seeing Yuji alive. And Kugisaki asks how he even knows him. And what the hell is going on? Junpei says that he saved his life. And for the Kyoto students, this doesn't really mean much. They don't know the guy, and honestly, they don't care. All they know is he was Sukuna's vessel. That made him dangerous. Yuji stops right before his friend, saying, "Sorry I didn't say anything. I was training." They don't even know what to say. Most of all, Fushiguro, who watched him die, is the most just baffled. That's when Gojo actually says that he wants to clear something up. It is that Itadori is no longer Sukuna's vessel. Preposterous, exclaims Gokuganji. You expect us to believe that? Shut up, Yuji. Okay, when I came back to life, I got a cursed technique. When everyone heard this, they were just as surprised as Gojo. Obviously, because, well, you can't just do that. Like, they don't really believe it. But then they watch him touch the floor and whisper something. Suddenly, the ground gets stretchy and someone tumbles by accident, and it makes everyone bounce into the air. The ground had become a trampoline of sorts, with no one knowing what the hell was going on, but it just as quickly returns to normal. Junpei is the only one who's not really surprised because he faced his technique, and he reminds himself just how weird and OP it is. Basically, I can change the property of things. I made my body unsuitable for his fingers, so I threw him up. Pretty gross, actually. It was pretty gross, actually. Gojo says so was eating them, and he can't really argue with that. Now, hearing this is actually relieving to everyone. Yes, even Gokuganji, because though he is ruthless, they've lost the nuke, and now they gained a sorcerer who's still aligned with them somehow, even though he should be really mad at them. The only reason why Yuji's not destroying Jujutsu Society is because Gojo exists. I'm not gonna lie. And now that everything's cool, well, not really, but he thinks things are cool, the tournament can begin. Yaga explains the rules, and then the teams are split. Junpei is sent to his dorms to get some rest, and Kugisaki takes the chance to bully Yuji by having him act like he's in a funeral while she paces back and forth. Okay, sorry guys, I lied, but come on. Fushiguro tells him not to even look at him because he not helping him. And Panda says that she's being quite harsh. And Yuji, questions the talking panda, but because everyone ignores it, he just lets that shit go. There's a talking panda, cool. Alright, enough, says Maki. Itadori, what exactly is your technique? Kugisaki asks if they're really gonna just, reveal stuff like that because, well, it's not really common for sorcerers to just reveal their powers. But if they're gonna be on a team, they should. Also, Yuji technically revealed it already, so screw it. Now he just has to go in more detail about it. After he does so, however, he ends up being stared at and getting called out. So you're bullshitting us. Oh, he definitely is. There's no way that's a thing. That makes no sense. You just woke up from death with that? It's awesome though, right? I mean, come on. They ask for further proof, and so Yuji demonstrates it by tapping Fushiguro and saying switch. Suddenly from his head, he grows wolf ears, and everyone just loses it, laughing or saying how cute it is, but Fushiguro is not enthused. Change me back right now. I get it, okay? He does so, even though he finds it funny, and one thing's for sure, Yuji is a powerhouse. Matter of fact, he can help the plan even more. If anything, he could do the whole plan by himself. And just like that, they go out having formed a new strategy, including Itadori and his cursed technique, because it's pretty bonkers. And he has named the technique New Order, finally. When the fight is declared to have begun, they run together and stay close, and Fushiguro uses his divine wolves for any enemies that might come his way, like in the original. They still encounter Todo Aoi, but in these events, when Maki calls for everyone to disperse, Itadori doesn't just, kick him in the face and that's it, or knee him in the face and that's it. He sends him flying through multiple trees with just a single kick to his stomach. He then chases him down, avoiding fallen trees, and leaps, saying switch once again. He sees Todo with a smile, and he sees him leaking blood from his mouth. Oh, so you like to throw down? Okay, bring it on, first year. He would clap, switching their places, and now he's the one who's about to kick Yuji. But when he swings down his kick and hits Yuji, he winces in pain. This is because of the active rules that are set on him. The first one says that Yuji's punches can cause shockwaves. Yuji's impacts can cause shockwaves. Anything he lands, it causes shockwaves if he wants. And slot 2 says that Yuji's skin is as tough as diamond. Slot 3 is empty for now in case he wants to add something. Todo realizes that what he felt from earlier wasn't wrong. Clearly Itadori changed his durability and striking power, and as Itadori turned with another attack, he lays waste to an entire mile radius of the forest, causing an explosion to be heard by everyone. The Kyoto students know no one from their school that could do that, or from Tokyo that could do that, so it must be Yuji. Yuji stands over Todo, having won while he's barely able to stand, and Todo is just completely out of it. Watching from the safety of their rooms, the teachers are astounded by the young man's strength, and Utayame questions just how far he can take this. I mean, what are his limits? He's gonna be a problem when he grows up. Gojo obviously takes pride in this, and Mei is thinking of ways to make money with this somehow. Stay the hell away from Yuji, you freak ass woman. Seriously, goddamn Mei is a demon. Regardless, Todo has been beaten and is out of this competition, so his talisman is burnt. Before Yuji left though, he's asked, "Hey, what's your type?" "Oh, tall with a..." Why am I telling you this? I mean, tall with a big butt, but I don't know you. Why did you ask that? "Oh, but you do, my friend. You do." "Okay. Alright. Okay. You're really strong. Try not to move." He runs off calling Maki, on the phone, and she's shocked to hear that he already beat Todo. She smiles widely, saying that they should move on to the, next target, that being Momo. Hanging up, Yuji looks up and sees the witch high up, and she's the one giving calls to everyone, letting them know of the action, and he adds another rule. He appears right above the witch, and she watches him swing down as if, she was in slow motion. Like, it's like watching that scene on a movie where someone's about to get hit, but they can't stop it, and she says, "No, there's no way, get the hell away from me," but it's too late. When she's struck, she's knocked out and is eliminated immediately. She crashes to the forest, she's done. Then Yuji teleports back down to the signature of Noritoshi Kamo, or where he is around, because after taking care of those two, he was given free reign to go after whoever he wants. He lands on a roof and runs around trying to reach, Fushiguro and Kashimo. But that's when he stops, seeing a veil being put over the forest. What the? Is someone doing this? Is it teachers? The very environment changes around him. It seemed like, it was sunset now somehow. And before him appeared the very same curse from before who interrupted he and Gojo from, interrogating Jogo. He immediately gets on guard, but another part of the area, like far ahead, where he assumes Kashima and Fushiguro are fighting, roots and trees just explode out, taking out with it an entire block. And obviously, Yuji is kind of pissed. He teleports behind the curse and sends him flying to the sky and appears before him, striking her. I forget Hanami's a her. Striking her to the forest. Hanami felt her insides churn and rupture and quickly heal before she had to crash. She uses trees as cushion and rides them down, and remarks how bizarre Itadori's technique feels and is. She had put up cursed energy to protect herself, but this was completely ignored by a strike. And the curse then raises a curtain of... She raises a curtain of floor, a bunch of flowers and trees, blocking a blue shockwave. This is what happens when Yuji uses shockwaves and punches the air. Yuji swings and swings, raining down more and more until he lands, and Hanami quickly gets rid of the shield and would attack, overwhelming the boy with punches, trying to restrict him with plants grabbing his hands and feet randomly, but Itadori frees himself and headbutts her. As he cocks back his fist, he then uses Black Flash and is surprised. And then he realizes, why didn't I just think of this, and applies a new rule. He appears right behind the curse and struck another Black Flash, ripping his torso open. Onto the scene, Fushiguro and Kashimo would arrive to see him strike a Black Flash kick into the back of Hanami's knee. This blows off his leg, and Itadori then grabs her by the branches in her eyes and throws her to the sky. He teleports above them and strikes another Black Flash kick in their stomach. Hanami thought fighting these humans would be easy, but no. This human, this child, the distortion of space that he kept causing was unavoidable, and he was literally everywhere. With another Black Flash, Itadori blows off her entire head, exercising the curse, and leaving his comrades absolutely baffled. Kashimo explains that the curse was definitely a special grade, and stronger than most actually, and yet he defeated it like nothing, matching the record no less. Yuji lands and they run to him, and he's happy to see they survived. Fushiguro tries to focus on what's important, even if he's just as, completely shocked. And he asks, did any more of them come? No, more special grades? No. We should do something about this barrier though. He then switches out a roll and begins to fly, saying that he needs to make contact with the edge to be able to change the properties. Can you really do anything to it though? Asks Kashimo. Don't know, guess we'll find out. So he flies for the veil. While he does so, Mahito is escaping with the cursed paintings and some of Sukuna's fingers, the ones that Itadori barfed up. And Gojo is still trying to break the barrier, so coincidentally, by the time that Yuji makes contact with it, Gojo breaks it as well, destroying the barrier. So no one knows who freed them, but now they're free. And Yuji flies to Gojo and tells him what happened. But you beat it though, right? Oh yeah, easily. After this, Juzo, was still captured, and in his path, Mahito killed a few sorcerers, only making the school more wary. Then everyone goes and plays baseball. Kyoto loses terribly. Now after all this, because Yuji is no longer a vessel, he needs to be properly graded, and considering his efforts, he's set at first grade, and someone who can, be very helpful to Jujutsu Society has been born, so like, they're trying to hype him up and shit. Obviously, they're fake because they didn't care when he was a vessel before, but I can't really blame them. Yuji doesn't care as much though. He's still trying to connect with his friends again. They get some pizza after the fight and play the baseball game and hang out in Fushiguro's room, and they even invite Junpei. And that's when Kugisaki asks, what happened by the way, how'd you guys meet? Junpei says that is a long story, which luckily they have time for, so he tells them everything. It makes more sense now why he joined, because he literally has no one else, but at least he has friends again now. Now for the next arc, I won't cover it because nothing much changes and it's also super easy. Yuji just touches the death paintings and forces them out of the human bodies. As such, Eso and Kichizu get returned to the Star Corridor, but obviously Choso felt their presence disappear, so he doesn't know what happened for real. It didn't feel like they died though, so he's glad about that, but now he has to find them again. And Fushiguro still unleashes his domain, cool and all that. He gets some time to, actually take down the finger barrier, because Yuji took a while to realize who they were fighting, and before he took the cursed paintings out of the body of, or vessels, if you want to say that. And now a few days pass, Yuji trains with Gojo again. And he finally gets to use the rule to apply to himself positive energy output. And he's kind of surprised by how it feels. In the sparring room they're in, he was given a tip by Gojo, while they were going head to head. And he told them that when it comes to sorcery, the body remembers. Had Sukuna stayed in his body a little bit longer, he would have become able to use his technique. Yuji can use this to his advantage, since he can change the property of his energy however he wants. And if he keeps an effect for long enough, theoretically, he should be able to use a separate technique without even needing to add a rule. So for now, he's going to keep one effect. And it's going to be that Yuji Itadori, he himself, can naturally output cursed energy. Yuji agrees with this, saying, actually, there's this kind of side effect, like you said, Sensei. I still remember the first time I used the fire. And I remember how the cursed energy moved. It's weird, but I think 1 week should be long enough to be able to do this by myself. Good, keep this on for 1 week and practice, and then we'll see what happens. Yuji agrees. Now during the week, his squad takes Junpei out on a mission to find Mekamaru the traitor. They don't find him because he was never there, and you know what happens. The fateful day comes. A barrier falls upon Shibuya on the day of Halloween, and within it there are civilians present who keep shouting for the same thing, to bring Gojo Satoru. Meanwhile, the same teams are formed, and Yuji is at a cemetery with Mei Mei and Ui Ui. And since this is the perfect opportunity, Mei Mei asks what exactly Yuji can do. The student takes precaution because Gojo warned him about her. She's very greedy, so he diverts the situation, instead asking about why they aren't going in as well. Obviously, the first thing is they can't because only Gojo's allowed in. And second, right now they're on backup, and Gojo is Gojo, so no one really feels the need to step in yet. Eventually though, they get a call, and so they head out. And let me tell you what Yuji's current slots are. The first slot is that Yuji Itadori's punches can stack in power until he shouts impact. This time he's just fully applying this to his, cursed energy, not just his body. Slot 2 is that Yuji Itadori's skin is tougher than diamond. and slot 3 is empty for anything else he has in mind. And you'll be happy to learn that he has learned how to output positive energy. No, not use reverse curse technique. He can straight up output positive energy. That means his punches or any attacks he throws, he can imbue that with positive energy, and literally he will feel like poison to curses. And he can also heal himself. And because he had it on for so long, like Gojo said, the body remembers. His body remembers how that cursed energy felt and how it flowed. And now it's just passive to him. He can heal casually and just output positive energy. Something only the likes of Yuta or Kotsu can do. Even Gojo can't naturally just output positive energy like that. He would learn to because he has a 6 size, but you get the point. So the three would run to the station. There they meet a manager, and she fills them in on the appearance of bizarre humanoid transfigured humans. When he even gets an inkling of what she meant, Itadori became scared, but was also happy at another chance to kill Mahito. So they head down and would see the same woman, curled up, twitching, convulsing, talking to herself, tripping. And she then begins to deform. Shit, wait, quick, what's her name? The manager doesn't know what to, say. She doesn't know, obviously, but why is he asking? They're confused. She's then transfigured and limps to the floor, no longer human or alive. Itadori again couldn't stop this. He curses his limits, with Mei asking why he wanted her name. Objects are easy because they don't have a will, but for people, I need to have their name to impose a rule on them. For this woman and many others who have been affected, Itadori would steal himself. This is where the real work begins. They enter further into the station, and together they walk down the tracks when a remnant of Mekamaru falls. Yuji catches it and nearly destroys it, but not before it gives a message that Gojo Satoru has been sealed. Anyone with half a brain wouldn't believe such a thing. Rightfully, they don't believe him, so Yuji compels him to tell only the truth by using his third rule, and so he says it again, and, they believe him. Yuji then leaves that slot blank for now, but now that they know it's true, they gotta get to Gojo. Even as a disassembled cursed object now though, Mekamaru says that Itadori's technique is bizarre. Like, he's not really alive right now, so he's an object and a person at the same time, but he's being forced to do something against his will. It feels weird. He says that his technique is warping reality. But now Gojo is sealed that they gotta get there. Itadori needs to go tell everyone too. So he's about to leave, but a cursed user intercepts them. So he leaves while Mei and Yui deal with them. Mostly Mei, that dude's kind of weak. So clenching onto the puppet and putting him on his ears, he escapes the scene. He switches out the last slot for super speed as he rules himself the ability to run as fast as lightning. Whenever Yuji makes a roll in this universe, by the way, a binding vow naturally activates to compensate for whatever his body needs to keep the rule, safe. So he's as fast as lightning, but his perception is just as fast. In case you were wondering, because I know someone out there gonna say something. As he erupts with all this energy, Itadori leaps, moving as if literally a stream of energy, and he starts falling towards the edge of the barrier. And he'll be getting asked by Mekamaru, what exactly are the limits of your technique? This may be helpful for me while I'm trying to assist you. I can change the property of my cursed energy, basically any way I want, and affect objects, people, even intangible things. Affecting people is hard if I don't know their name, and I have 3 slots that I switch out. Even with the limitations he hears, Mekamaru says that powers like that border on not even being a technique anymore. The moment Itadori passes through the veil, he sees all the carnage occurring, people getting killed by transfigured humans, and he holds his hand out. Switch. He loses the lightning speed, and all the transfigured humans would freeze during their assault and fall to the floor dead. Mekamaru asks, what the hell did you just do? And he says that he made any transfigured humans within a mile radius within this airspace lose all their cursed energy. As a result, they fell because, they're being powered by a cursed technique. So now Mahito's technique has lost effect, so they're killed. He switches out the rule, giving him lightning speed again. He switches out the rule that he just made and give himself lightning speed again. And obviously he freaked out every normie in the vicinity because this man just came in and can move at super speed. Then he scaled a building, and from there on he shouts for Nanami. He shouts saying that Satoru has been sealed, and he and Ino and Megumi hear it, so they run in his direction. And upon meeting Yuji, they confirm this news. Ino states the obvious, that if Satoru really is sealed, then they're in deep trouble. They need to start moving, so Nanami puts Ino in charge of Fushiguro and Itadori, and their job was to take care of the domain, well, the veil, same thing, it's a barrier technique. And they had to go to that domain and dispel it because Gojo was the only one that was allowed in there. They need to take care of that. Meanwhile, Nanami was gonna go meet with Ichichi. Quickly, the three would go to the barrier. Now it's a race to see which side wins, who gets Gojo, the curses or the humans. As Itadori stood before the barrier, he says that he's not sure this will work. Fushiguro says it will, but the drain would be massive on you. Oh, it's okay, I can recharge my cursed energy. Ino is shocked, but, you just casually said that. Like, bruh, what the hell are you? But Yuji says that he really can. He's not worried about it not working. He's worried about, no, he's not worried about losing cursed energy. He's worried about it not working. And Ino says, yeah, go ahead, bro. But he touches the barrier, and he adds a rule, and then he pulls back his fist, striking with full strength. The ground quakes and cracks spread through the freaking cement, and the veil shatters right before their eyes and disappears instantaneously like it never existed. That really worked. Of course it did. It's Itadori. From the station, the curse users feel the barrier shatter and also see it. From the train station down below where Gojo used to be fighting before he got sealed, their curses and Kenjaku feel the barrier shatter, realizing that Itadori was here. Mahito is drooling at the chance to fight him again, and he himself has gotten stronger, so he's confident. His soul got stronger too. Jogo still wants to feed him the fingers, but realizes that it'll be useless because his technique will just force Sukuna out again. So like Mahito, he just wants to kill him. Joso wants to meet him, but not to kill the sorcerer, but ask about his brothers. He also realizes that he is no match for Itadori, but from what he heard, he was also a sorcerer who listened and then struck next, so he should be fine. For now though, Sukuna will remain unleashed because Kenjaku hadn't yet readied his new body. He had the original version of his body mummified in that same space you saw in the manga and kept it somewhere different this time, just for, a contingency in case someone figures it out. They needed to do a ritual to feed the fingers into the mummified body to bring back the sorcerer. Uraome wasn't present because she was busy conducting this ritual as they spoke. So, whatever happens next, Sukuna's not going to be involved, but trust me, it's still going to be fun. But this is when I end the part, or I guess the chapter, same thing. Alright guys, tell me what you think about this new style of story writing. Clearly, things are a bit more rushed, but trust me, it's not like I'm abandoning good storytelling just to rush things along, because I realize this is just easier for me. Sometimes I have these stories, right? Mind you, I have like at least 20 what ifs. I'm not even joking. I have 20 series set up, but I never finish them because I'm always so worried about getting certain scenes right. But the thing is, I can never do it the same way the author could, So I'm just gonna stick to my guts and try to do all my stories in this type of format from now on. Hopefully you like it, but this is just what's easiest for me. Like, there are so many series, like endless amounts that people have been telling me to do for years that I create, but I never get to finish because I don't feel like I'm doing it right. So at least this way I can just bring out the scenarios and not have to worry too much about everything being perfect. I just hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, tell me down in the comments what you think about the story. Second part's gonna come out very soon. JJK is a very easy series to write, so I'll finish this part up probably in 3 parts. Yeah, y'all have a great day and peace. I'm gone.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget.